There we go. There you go. Welcome everybody to the February 2024 Black in Data and Analytics Tableau User Group. Very happy to have you guys here and super happy that you guys are spending some of the last part of Black History Month celebrating with us and the TUG. We have 4 co-leaders here who will be serving as your host. Myself, Alice McKnight, Sifa Mexo, Rashid Minat. I'm about to pronounce your name horribly.
You got it right. You're good.
And Sekou Tyler. We will be coming in and out of the presentations today. As you can see, all of us are on Twitter and also on LinkedIn, so feel free to reach out to us, and we're all happy to connect. Hi, Sekou.
Hello.
Hi, so I'm going to go through some of the new things in Tableau to start us off. If you have a Tableau public account, and you have not been there in a while, Tableau has added an enhanced stats for your Tableau public page. It's been something that a lot of us users have been asking for, being able to see how many people have viewed our page, how many of our visits has been favorited, people who have linked our visits as inspiration, and how many people have been following us. So that has been added recently, and I absolutely love it. I like seeing those stats. We're all data people. So, and also at the bottom of this, you can see which of your visits people are visiting. So it's been really helpful to me in the last 30 days. I always like checking it. So, and it's a way to see what's going on with your page. We would be remiss not to talk about Tableau Conference. It's going to be from April 29th to May 1st. And if you've been going to conference the last few years, the conference has been in Las Vegas. But this year, we're doing a change of venue, and it's going to be in San Diego. So the registration for conference has just come out. So please use the QR code to link yourself to registration. And if you're looking for your company to sponsor you, there's also information on how to do that also, and ways to provide reasons for your funding team to fund you to go to TC. Some of us have been able to go. I've been able to go 2 years ago. I know Sekou went last year and got a chance to meet a lot of people. And networking there, I always say, if you can go connect. It's a great time, great learning experience.
And real quick on this slide, the goal is to have a Black in Tableau event. So there should be a community event that I'm trying to organize and lead up. So a safe place for all of us to come connect and meet everybody of color at the event, at the conference, so that you're not isolated and be like, oh, you're Black as well. We should be friends at this conference. We should all come together and connect with each other. So that's the goal there. And then I'm trying to figure it out, but my goal for this year is to have a Black in Tableau happy hour at some point too. So either the 29th or the 30th, I'm still figuring that out. And then I'm trying to get an actual place for us to talk and chat outside of I used last year, the thing where people came in crazy. But I'm trying to find a Slack channel or something. I don't know. I still got to figure this out, but more to come. So yeah. Sorry to bombard you.
I'm not sure if you heard me, but if you want to speak about Dreaming in Color.
Oh yeah, Dreaming in Color. My bad. I did not hear that. All right, so Dreaming in Color. This is a Black Salesforce conference down in New Orleans on Juneteenth. It's going to be very Black and dope. It's amazing. It is a really great conference if you use a lot of Salesforce products, but really understanding the ecosystem. As Tableau is rolling into Salesforce, they're needing more people to represent Tableau. Me and Chantilly will likely be having talks down there in Dreaming in Color, more so on storytelling and Tableau. But it's a really, really great conference to go to and attend. It's not that expensive. So if your company that you work for has dollars to send you some places, again, another place for people that look like us to come together and really network and grow. I went last year for the first time and it was amazing. So yeah, go. It's going to be great. It's amazing. So yeah, that's my pitch for that.
Okay. Iron Viz. If you are unsure of what Iron Viz, it is like the premier data competition that Tableau has put on for many, many years now. It's also one of the most exciting portions of Tableau conference. And if you're not able to go to Tableau conference, you can also watch it virtually. Iron Viz is one of the first things that inspired me to get involved with Tableau. At the end of the year, there was a feeder competition for this, and the top 3 winners of that feeder competition will be on stage at Tableau conference, fighting for to be the champ of data. So if you want to see some of all the work that was submitted as part of that feeder and see the top 3 qualifiers, click the link below. Data Plus Movies is a Tableau sponsored data set in collaboration with IMDb. If you are looking for ways to supplement your portfolio, get some practice with a very, very full data set, this is one that is easily like one of the better data sets to work with. It is large. It has lots of measures and dimensions to work with. Lots of creativity has been going on with this challenge. If you're on Twitter or LinkedIn, if you go to #DataPlusMovies, you can see examples of this data set in action. With maybe at this point, it has to be well over 100 submissions. I'll be talking about one of my visits that I use this data set for. If you're just looking for practice, it's a great opportunity. And if you do create a viz and submit the Google form with this, you can get a free t-shirt from Tableau. So get a little piece of swag. Okay, Rashid, are you ready to talk about what's new in Tableau?
I am certainly not, but that's not. Okay, give me 1 second, guys.
I can jump in here if you want.
Oh yeah, because I haven't actually seen what's new with Tableau, so I'm kind of want to see it myself as well.
Cool. Okay, this is exciting. Yeah, Tableau 2020. What are we at? 2024.1. Yep. Tableau Pulse is the big thing. So this is really cool. The goal here, right? Tableau is trying to position themselves in the AI game. So basically, they're creating metrics that are easily available on the go. And so this is utilizing generative AI. And so there's a lot of cool, fancy things going on. I will say, right, like AI, we have the conversation about that in our last meeting, right? It's here to stay. So definitely just take a look, play around with this, see actually like what goes into making metrics and explore this because they're really pushing Tableau Pulse and all the functionality and capabilities this can come with. So it is brand new. There's a lot going on, but at first glance, it is really exciting.
I do know one thing. For those of you who may not know this, Tableau Pulse is one of the big things that's Tableau Cloud and Tableau Cloud only, and probably Tableau Cloud for the foreseeable future. It's one of the features where now you're going to start to see parity split between if you're an on-prem Tableau customer versus a Tableau Cloud customer. Tableau Cloud customers are going to get nicer, new, fancy things before everyone else does. I don't know if this would make it to Tableau Public either, to tell you the truth, but that'll be kind of the way things go from here on out. Any kind of AI, machine learning type stuff will probably hit Tableau Cloud first, and then down the line, eventually the others, you know, Tableau on-prem and Tableau Public, hopefully, we'll start to see some of these features as well. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, no, that is a great call out. Thank you for calling that out. That's really important. And I think now we're seeing a lot of, or we have been seeing a lot of migrations, but at least like for us at our consulting company, we've been seeing big uptick in people migrating now from Tableau Server to Tableau Cloud. So it does seem like Tableau is really pushing this. And of course it comes with cloud. So it's like, okay, if you want Pulse, come to cloud, and that's a whole other conversation. But very cool. Check it out and just play around with it. And yeah, watch Tableau Tim's video for a more in-depth explanation of what's going on there and how that's being utilized. This is super big. Tableau Cloud is on AWS Marketplace. So this is a big, like collaboration, very good things. And so that's going to be really helpful in terms of simplifying billing, procurement, getting a comprehensive view at IT spending. And again, this is like really good when you're talking about Tableau Cloud and AWS. So lots of exciting things. This also is something that seems kind of simple, but we've been like asking for it for a long time. This is one of the ideas that came from the community forums, which is really exciting. So I think one of the cool things about Tableau is that they really do, to some degree, take into account what we want. And so this was an idea on the community forums. A lot of people upvoted it, and now it's in the current release. And so this is just allowing data exploration through keyboard shortcuts instead of relying on your mouse. So if you think about Excel, like that's one of the tools you can use a lot of keyboard shortcuts. Tableau, not so much. So this will be really good for accessibility and just moving around and doing things quicker. Okay, this brings us to our Black History Month Tableau Public Featured Authors section. Seiko, I'm going to throw back to you. I don't know if we have some special guests, but I do just want to say congratulations to all these authors.
Well, if you're an author, come off mute and say you're an author. If not, these are the new ones. I did reach out to every single one. Some said they would join, some wouldn't. So yeah, here's your time to shine if you are a featured author. We just love to give you your flowers.
I definitely want to say, congratulations to being a featured author. I became a featured author a few months after I started publicly doing things in Tableau, and it is such, an honor and to be recognized by Tableau. And it's also a way to, get exposed to other people's work. So if you have Tableau Public, please click on the following button for these individuals, and you get to watch them grow and get inspired by their work. So add them. Our first presentation today is going to be about Makeover Monday. If you are unfamiliar with the community project, then this is like the OG community project. So many of us have began our career, began our Tableau journey through Makeover Monday. I am one of those people. The original co-leads for this have stepped down, and they have passed on that baton to some members of the community, and they have hit the ground running. So we have one of those co-leads with us today, and they're going to tell us more about the project and how you can get involved.
Awesome. Thanks a lot, Alice. And hey, everyone. Thanks for having me here. It's great to be part of this meeting today. I'm just going to quickly share my screen in a moment here for us. Okay, just let me know once you can see it.
Yeah, so it's taking a minute.
Mm-hmm.
There you go.
Now we can see.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Awesome. So I have a few moments, so I'm not going to spend too much time talking about myself. Everything you need to know about me is basically on the slide previously that was just shown by Zifa. But long story short, I'm a Tableau Visionary and Ambassador, and I'm a database developer and designer where I basically just create awesome stuff in Tableau to help customers see their data better. As also mentioned by Zifa, I have definitely like, well, okay, I guess I'll say that I've definitely benefited from Makeover Monday in the past. Like a lot of people who are part of the community, it was something that, you know, was my starting point. And so now that I've been invited, I guess, to sort of host it, I'm here to talk about why you should even consider being a part of this and how to be a part of the Makeover Monday initiative on Twitter. So for an addenda, I'll go quickly. I'm just going to talk about the history, present, where it's at right now today. Why should you participate? How should you participate? And one of my personal favorite things about the challenge, and I'm sure a lot of people feel the same way, there's just so much going on in the way of inspiration. You get to see a lot of people, the way they think, the way they visualize, et cetera, et cetera. And so I'm hoping to show a little bit of some of the things that have come through this year so that you can get to see kind of what's been going on in the community and, you know, why everyone makes such a big deal about Makeover Monday. So as far as history goes, these are the two people who created the initiative, Andy Kriebel and Eva Murray. I doubt that these names are new to most people in the community. They're basically data leaders who have been pioneers of Tableau for years and years now. And they started this. Oh, they're also a couple, in case, you know, that makes this more interesting. They're just so amazing. They started this in 2016. And ever since then, you know, how it started off was, you know, the goal is to improve how we visualize data. So every week they would post data sets, and it was sort of a full-time thing for them. So they would actually show up every week after week. And on the one side, Andy would do his watch me viz, where he's visiting the data sets and people watch. And Eva, she would do a lot of reviews, you know, as well as just telling people how to improve their visualizations. And then at the end of the week, they would basically pick out favorites based on, you know, this is what we saw before. These are the people that got reviewed. These are some of the changes that they made. And here's some of the things that we liked about that. And so the whole concept of what they were doing is to just stay involved in the community, keep people actively visualizing in the community, keeping people engaged. And of course, the ultimate goal is how can we help improve the way, you know, we're visualizing, we're analyzing, et cetera, et cetera. Of course, life evolves. You know, we're not surprised to see these things happen. I believe now they're both parents, so they've got their hands occupied, they've got work, they got things like this. But also, you know, they didn't want to just step away and leave the community without anything to carry on the legacy that has been going on. And so that kind of brings us to the future of where we are today with some new co-leads. Essentially, last year, Irene Diomi over here, who was a technical account manager in Tableau, she reached out to me. She used to work with Andy at the data school, and she says, "Hey, listen, Andy's stepping away from Makeover Monday, but he's looking for some people to help carry it on. I think you'll be a great addition. And Harry, who is also a part of was also a part of the data school back then, he's going to be involved." And so for me, that was just a no-brainer, right? I thought about the history of Makeover Monday, how it, you know, introduced me to the community, all the benefits that I got from it. And so me getting a chance to give back was just like, you know, a big full circle event. And so, of course, here we are today. And I'd say that, you know, the goal is essentially the same. We want to keep people engaged in the community. We want to keep people actively involved in analyzing, visualizing data, and just staying involved with the challenges on a week-to-week basis. Because we're, you know, still involved in other things, we all have works, you know, some people have families, et cetera, et cetera. We can't necessarily do this in a full-time way. So I guess we're evolving as best as we can. So what I mean by this is right now we're just posting the data sets on a weekly basis. So that's basically on Sundays in the afternoon, usually around UK time. We're still posting the weekly articles, but we're also now talking about bringing back possibly maybe the review session, maybe possibly, getting back to the favorites and essentially doing things that, just make it interesting. So for now, I guess the point is we're learning as we're going, we're growing, we're listening to the community. And so just expect to see some changes as things move along. So most important part, in my opinion, why should you participate? I've kind of just laid it out into 5 simple points. Step 1, data visualization skill improvements. I hope that's self-explanatory. Data viz is basically like anything else. Practice is going to make perfect. The more you do, the better you become. And it's no different with data viz. And so you can imagine if you want to have any sort of success or you want to improve towards a certain goal, right? You may say, hey, listen, I'm going to do A, B, C, D, E, but it's not always easy to keep yourself accountable. So then you end up falling off the wagon. And of course, now you're left not reaching those goals. But for something like this, you set your goal. I want to improve X, Y, Z. You stay with the community. You're active with the community. And just the fact of you doing that, you're inevitably going to get better. Secondly, portfolio development. The job search today is totally different, right? Back in those days, you can show up, you could have a conversation, and people will take a chance on you and hope that you did okay. Today it's very different. We're in the digital age. Everything is visual. If you show up and you're saying, I can do X, Y, Z, the next question, show me what you got, right? Put your money where your mouth is. So building a portfolio is essential if you want to get any sort of play in the game today. And this is something that Makeover Monday is going to help you do, right? 1 viz a week. And again, you don't have to do this every week, but if you think about it, 1 viz a week, that's 52 visits a year. You cut that in half, that's still 26. You cut that in half, that's still 13. You cut that in half, that's still 6.5, right? 6.5 personal projects a year, fantastic, right? So that's the second thing. Community engagement, networking, recognition. I'm just going to jumble all these together. So, of course, we all love data, but there are other things about ourselves that make us special and unique, right? So, of course, you show up to the community. Yeah, we're all here to visualize data, but you get to see how people think. You get to engage with sort of their own ideas. You network with people maybe in different industries that you may not know about, or similar industries, or similar interests. It doesn't matter. The point is you're present, you're active, and the other people are there for you to interact with. Another bonus is Tableau pays attention to all these community initiatives. So the submissions and things, like, it's crazy, but everyone is always watching. And so when you hear about someone say, I'm a Tableau ambassador, I'm a Tableau visionary, I'm a Tableau this, I'm a Tableau that, usually that begins with the recognition from the community, right? People get to see you consistently showing up. People get to consistently see your passion. And so when it comes time to, whether it's nominates, whether you're going to apply, you don't need to do too much because people can already see what's been happening because you've been showing up, right? And then through that, you get the recognition from the community, which can also push you forward in other different ways. Number 4, develop analytical skills. The way the format of the event is such that you have a data viz that you're going to improve, and then you have an article about the said data viz. So in order to actually produce or reproduce something, you're going to have to digest the information that's been provided, evaluate the way it's been presented, and then finally think about ways to improve that presentation. And so, of course, critical thinking, analytical skills, you're developing these in the process, and that's directly applicable for when you're on the job. Of course, another bonus is you get to learn about new topics. So in order to keep people engaged and involved, we're trying to pull out topics that are very interesting, right? So for example, the first one was about New Year's resolution. This year, we've done topics like the world's highest paid athletes. We've talked about how people feel about consuming animals. And so these are things that you may not necessarily ever get into conversations about these topics, but you get to interact with this type of information. You get to learn new facts and cool tidbits about the world and people around us simply by participating in this challenge, right? So again, 5 benefits. You pick what applies to you, but I'll say either way, you can never go wrong by choosing to participate in Makeover Monday. How to participate. I guess one thing I'm going to say is after this, I'm going to like fill out a bunch of links and share so that it can be put out to the community. But essentially what you would need to do is step one, just look out for the post every Sunday. They're usually coming around UK time, around like 12 to 4, anytime around there. All you're expected to do is check out the article so you have some context. You look at the visualization to see where it's at today, and then you simply say, here's how I would do it differently, right? There's no limit to tools, creativity, whatever it is. You show up and we're going to, you can play it with everyone. Step 2, you post your submissions on LinkedIn and Twitter so that people can see the work. You can share whatever insights you have. You can comment whatever you want to comment and essentially just start off a conversation. You can tag the co-lead so that we can also see what you've been up to. We can make some comments as well. And, that information for us is going to be, provided later on. As far as deadlines goes, one cool thing is like the data goes all the way back to 2016. And so if you want to be current up to today, you can just kind of join in with where we're at. But if you just want to do things on your own, or maybe you find more interesting stuff in the past, you can just go back there and do your stuff and still post it. Even if you're making a post from a data set that's from like 5 years ago, the community is always watching. They're always engaged. There's always going to be someone who's going to like that post, who's going to say something about that post. And so you're never really alone when it comes to stuff like this. Makeover Monday is kind of like this universal thing where it's like, yeah, it's posted on Mondays, but literally every day is Makeover Monday. That's kind of how we look at it. Resources, it's all on the website, makeovermonday.com. You can basically go here and go there and you get, I think, do you still see my screen?
Yes, we can still see your screen.
Okay, is it a slide or is it the Makeover Monday website?
It's the slide, how to participate.
Okay, I'll just leave it there. So basically you can go to makeovermonday.co.uk. We have all the links, the dates, the weeks, and the articles there. So you can choose and pick what you want to. So essentially here's a snapshot of what it looks like. Makeover Monday, how to visualize, improving how we visualize and analyze data one chart at a time. And as you can see here, all the way back to 2016, this has been going on, and hopefully we get to see more buttons that kind of just go on and on over time. You can see basically these are the topics. We have the week, we have the data link, article, data source. So everything you need is right there. And finally, I'm gonna just pull up a few highlights just to kind of show a few works that have come through this year. We have some interesting work here by Kevin Fleurlage. This is on top paid athletes. This is stuff by Dennis Cow, really cool looking futuristic visual on AI trends. We got some nice looking professional work on New Year's resolutions. Another cool design here on AI search trends. Essentially, like there's no boundary as to how you're going to express yourself visually. As you can see, everything here, none of them are really connected, but they're all drawn from the same topic. So that in itself, I think, is really one of the cool things. Is we all very unique in how we think, how we process, and how we present stuff. But getting to see how other people do things, again, can inspire new ways of thinking and doing things for us as well. We have some more stuff here, just really nice layouts. Some more professional looking visuals here. Some amazing designers show up occasionally to give us some awesome stuff. This is by Damola Ladapal. He's also someone who I think, especially in the Black community, he's doing like really, really amazing things. I think he's kind of a funny guy in the sense of like, this guy just kind of, I'm sure life is great and busy. He kind of just disappears, but he shows up and everything he drops is like fantastic. And so when he came through for this particular week, it was just amazing. You can tell that's just like, this is a seasoned designer. So like all levels are welcome. Starter, middle, it doesn't really matter. We don't discriminate. Here's another one, nice, clean looking viz. So essentially, like I'd say, you can go on Tableau Public, search Makeover Monday. You can click on people's profiles. Like all this stuff is going to be at your fingertips. And we're going to work on ways to bring submissions together for the future. But ultimately, I'd say right now, just go ahead, participate, connect with the co-leads with any questions. And I'm sure over time, you're basically just going to be seeing yourself improve, because again, it's just not something that you can avoid. You're going to just, see the benefits as you get yourself more engaged. So that's it for me. I don't know if we have time for questions, but you can definitely connect later on. And like I said, I'm going to provide some resources for how to stay engaged with Makeover Monday. And so that's it for me today. And I'll hand it back to our hosts to continue on.
Right. Thank you so much, Chimdi. What we wanted to do is give an example of how Makeover Monday works. So a couple of us took the Makeover Monday topic for this week and are going to show you an example of how two very different people take a look at a data set and put together a dashboard. So give me just a second while I share my screen. I'll go first. Okay, so I hope you guys see my screen. Do you see a Tableau dashboard?
We got you.
Yes, we do.
All right, so the topic for this week's Makeover Monday was about animal rights across the globe. What I intended to show is that each country received a grade based on their performance across 9 different factors. So I wanted to highlight the overall grade and the percentage of the countries that fell within each grade level. So I really want to keep it simple and clean. I wanted to give a high level with some bands here. With the pie chart, 12% of the countries have an A, all the way down to 6 countries, 9% with an F. I wanted to make some vibrant colors that stood out a little bit. And also, if you want to have more information about where the countries fell, I made a variation of a bar chart. This one's called a Cleveland dot plot. I originally was going to do a bar chart, but I decided it was like a little too heavy. So the Cleveland dot plot, worked really well. Okay, let me stop sharing my screen. And I think Rashid also has one.
Yep. Okay, I will share my screen. But to Alice's point, this is exactly the kind of stuff that, it really is cool to see how other people think. Because like Alice wasn't wrong, like completely different ways to do the same thing. I waited till too late to actually do this. I actually did it yesterday. But I'll be honest with you. I'm going to show you how I handles a lot of this kind of stuff, like Makeover Monday. I would just immediately took the topic, went out to Tableau Public, and took a look at what anyone else had already done. And the first thing I noticed was what Andy did, Andy Kriebel, to Chimdi's point, the original, kind of simple, different. Like I'd never seen a bee swarm before. And that was kind of like, how the hell do you do that in Tableau? So I just kind of looked at this, and then I kind of saw what he had here as far as his inspiration was concerned. Guy named Kevin Wee's got a whole kind of collection of different ways to do box plots and alternatives to like different types of visualizations. Looked at this, and I saw, okay, this is what inspired Andy. For some reason, this rounded seismogram stood out to me because I never seen anything like that before. So from there, kind of started putting 2 and 2 together and came up with this. Same information, same kind of story, except I've kind of used this seismogram thing now to kind of tell the exact same thing, using the same grades, same scores, kind of color coordinating them, and just kind of giving it a different type of effect. Now, I'll be honest with you. I don't know if I'd ever used this, but I've never built it before. And this was a good time to start going down those avenues of like, I wonder if and when something like this would come in handy. Because if it did, now I've got one that I can just kind of pull out my back pocket. So I do think that Chimdi's right. And sometimes it's a really good practice area to build things in ways that you might not normally do, things you might not normally think about. To his point, I mean, if there's any kind of, trust me, you can practice in Makeover Mondays and Workout Wednesdays, and no one will ever criticize, you know. So, and it's good to get feedback on this kind of stuff in these kind of environments, because I won't lie to you, I might use this chart one day. Don't know when, don't know how, but at least I've done one now. So to, you know, to Chimdi and Irene and all the good folks who are now taking over the Makeover Monday, it's this stuff is real, you know. And again, I did this yesterday. I just looked to see what other people did, started reversing engineering what they did, started putting together the data that I had, and came up with this in 24 hours. So trust me, no matter what skill level you are, you can do this kind of stuff. But I'll pass it back to you, Alice.
Oh, Rashid, we got a quick question about the width of the bars. Does the width of the bars mean anything?
No, I tried to do it where that's a good point. It's I don't want to get too deep into this, but the width is really more about the number of countries in the bar. Notice only Luxembourg had a score. It's an A, but it's in that 510 to 539, where I believe there's 12 countries in this one. So that's kind of letting you know the size of the bar is kind of the amount of countries within that respective bar. So the majority of the countries are in that 450 range. Again, interesting visualization. I can't tell you that it's perfect for every use case, but it's nice to know that it's an option.
Yeah, one of the best things about Makeover Monday, like if you're new or even if you're seasoned, one data set with so many people who are going to approach the same data set totally differently. There's some people who are going to make something really straightforward, and then it's going to be some people who are going to incorporate Figma or Adobe Illustrator and make works of art. None of them are wrong. People use this as a way to stretch themselves, be able to practice data storytelling. Even if you just follow the hashtag, you will learn so much just that way, even if you don't participate. So I think that I am up next. Give me just a moment to share my screen again. Okay. Do you guys see a Google Slides presentation?
Yes, we can.
All right. So once again, my name is Alice McKnight, and I'm going to be talking about a series of visits that I've been doing for the last couple of years, focusing on Black history. Okay, a little bit about who I am. By profession, I am now a data analytics consultant. I work with clients to bring out insights about their business through data. By education, I am a public health professional. Even though I am not in public health currently, I spent my first 20 years of my professional career as a public health professional. I worked at the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, mainly as an evaluator and a creator of training for clinical public health laboratorians. I am a 3-time Tableau Social Ambassador, which means I just love talking about Tableau. You can find me mainly on Twitter, but I also use LinkedIn. And I am a 5-time Viz of the Day recipient. Who I am. I am a college football fanatic. I am from Alabama, and I'm also an alum of the University of Alabama, so Roll Tide. I was basically born into college football. So Saturdays in the South is a real thing. I'm also a craft beer and cocktail connoisseur. I love craft beer. I got into it in grad school. Atlanta has become like a hub of craft beer, and that and classic cocktails are my thing. I love a good cocktail bar. My spirit of choice is gin. I'm also a lover of TV and film. It's Oscar season, so it's my time. And also, I'm really into right now animated work. Blue Eye Samurai and Scavenger's Reign are two of the TV shows, animated shows that I'm really got into lately. I'm also into a little bit of trash TV, so I'm also a lover of Housewives and Love is Blind. And I'm also a live music lover. Before my son got here, I spent a lot of time going to live music festivals and live music concerts. I just love music. I love hearing people play live. It's one of the things that gives me joy. And some of this will come up in my later visits. Okay, so here is a gallery of the 8 visits that are part of this series. 3 of these have been gotten Viz of the Day, and one of them was featured in the Viz Gallery at Tableau Conference last year. That was one of the things that meant a lot to me. The Reclaiming Craft Beer one, this one at the bottom, was featured last year, and I'm really happy that it made it there. One is, an honor as a Tableau ambassador to be a part and a user, and also have something based on one of the things that I love, craft beer. So how did I begin this series? At the time when I started using Tableau, I was still working in public health. This was near the midpoint of 2020, really the beginning and the height of the COVID response. I was doing a lot of work on training and testing, and I started using Tableau to kind of visualize that work for leadership. So I joined the community as a way to kind of quick start learning Tableau. And I started with Makeover Monday. So a lot of my early work is all Makeover Monday. But as I got into the community, I saw that, hey, there's other things out here that I can participate in. And one of those initiatives was called Viz to Educate. And they basically use Tableau way to create learning resources for educators. They would pick a topic every month, and you could create anything based on that topic. In February 2021, that topic was history. And I decided, well, let me step out of Makeover Mondays and step into a different kind of challenge. At this particular time, at the end of February, I'm in Georgia, and that was like the end of the 2020 election cycle. If you were in Georgia at the time, you were just thrown the Senate race. We had both seats up. If you turn on the TV, that's all you saw. If you turn on the radio, that's all you saw. So I was really like interested in kind of figuring out a way to visualize it, but also put a spin on it. If you're familiar with that race, Raphael Warnock was won one of those Senate seats, and he became the first Black senator from Georgia. So I decided, like, how many Black Americans have been in Congress? So I had that idea, and that became this Viz. This is the first Viz that I personally had the idea for, sourced my own data, really thought about the design. I really wanted to try something that looked like a poster, something that a teacher could put in their classroom that you could just look at a glance and get the majority of the information. But also, if you wanted to spend some time looking at each data point, that you could. This is my first viz of the day. And this was basically like the viz that made me love data viz. This is the one that I was actually like sold on being better at Tableau. Okay. So by 2023, I had left public health. I was no longer at CDC. I had joined a consulting firm at this time based on just the strength of my Tableau Public portfolio. So I am one of those people who transitioned from one career, and also I am an example of a person who didn't look for a job. The job found me based on my Tableau Public profile. Also, by this time, I had been tapped as a Tableau social ambassador. I had spoken at a user group. So at this point, I was like really in the community. But one thing I will tell you is that once the thing you have been doing on the side for fun and interest becomes your job, things kind of change. So there was a little bit of lull in me working on creative pursuits with Tableau. I was still doing like work-based dashboards that I would build at work, and I would build those as part of my Tableau Public profile, but I wasn't doing any really creative work. So in 2023, the end of 2022, I decided, hey, I would love to do something more creative. When is the last time I really got into making a viz? So I thought back to that political viz that I got that first viz of the day for, and was like, what did I like about building that viz? And one of the things I really loved about it is that it was totally different from what I was doing at work. I was able to really dig into a topic that I was interested in. And I'm always interested in Black history and bringing out those different topics. It keeps me motivated when things were a little hard getting the data together. It kept my interest together. And also, it gave me a deadline. February is only 28 or 29 days. So it gave me time to like visits done. My original goal was to do a viz a week for the 4 weeks of February. And what I really want to focus on was to use data viz as storytelling. By this time, I was working as a consultant, so I was dashboarding as a way to get business insights. So I really wanted to practice on telling viz as stories, and which is a whole different type of data viz. This gave me an opportunity to like use different kinds of charts, incorporate using Figma a little bit more, being a little bit more imaginative, and also be able to do some deep dive into topics that meant a lot to me. So 2023, this first one was about Black American First and the achievement gap. A lot of times when we think about Black history, a lot of it's like the first Black American to do this, the first Black American to do that. But I really want to think about like, why is that important? Why do we care about the first Black American to do X? And the way I saw it was like, what if Black Americans had the same resources and opportunities as white Americans in the same period of time? Like when could we have made these same achievements? So this first one is that's highlighting the achievement gap, the gap between when the Black American achieved it versus when a white American first achieved it. The second viz I spoke a little bit about earlier is about craft beer. I'm really into craft beer, and in Atlanta, there's like a growing number of Black breweries here. So I wanted to learn more about the history of Black Americans and brewing. And I learned so much about about that, making this viz. There's so many breweries out there. We have been brewing beer for hundreds of years. So being able to bring all the things that I learned in my research into a viz was really great. And the last viz I created was with a collaboration with one of my friends that is in the community. Her name is Autumn Batani. She is also a visionary, and I also work with her. She is one of the people that I talk about visiting a lot with, and I came to her with like this idea that I wanted to do a viz on HBCUs, and she was like, I've been wanting to do a viz on HBCUs, so we kind of collaborated together to create the last one. So that brings us to the 2024 Black History Month series. I've created 3 this year. The first one is about banned books by Black authors. The second one is about Black romantic comedies. And the last one that I just released last week is about the first Black graduates of state flagship universities. The rest of my presentation, I'm going to be focusing on these 3 and the development and thought process behind each one. Okay, so the creation timeline for these. Everybody has, their lives and work to do. So I know I needed to like really think carefully about the timeline and make sure I had like enough space to do
Alice,
January. A lot of the data prep and design prototyping. And in February, it's all about, doing the Tableau development, iterating the design, and finally publishing. Okay, so where do the topics come from? This is the fun part for me. This is when everything is fresh, there's promise, like the sky is the limit. So this is when I had like tons of ideas. I have a notebook that I would write my ideas from. I might run across an article, or there's something that I've been really thinking about for a while, and I would just fill, a notebook of ideas. And this is some of the things that I would like jot down as I was coming up with ideas. Some of these became a viz, some of these didn't for various reasons that I'll talk about later. Okay, so the first viz, the banned book viz, came from like a personal interest in an article that I saw about overall banning of books. I live in Georgia. I have a son who is 5, so now I'm really eyes are open to what happens on school boards. In the county next to me, they were beginning the process of bringing up books, challenging different books, and a lot of those books were written by Black authors. Last year, I pulled some data together for a viz that I wanted to do for banned books in general. But that didn't happen. So I kind of like repurposed that for this particular viz. So I took an old idea and kind of repurposed it for this one. The second one, the viz on Black romantic comedies. I love movies. I have so many memories of like sitting at a movie theater and watching Love Jones, watching Brown Sugar, Love and Basketball. The second week of February is Valentine's Day. I really wanted to find a way to like incorporate the two and do a fun viz on 2 things that I love. So that's how the romantic comedies viz came to be. In my last viz on the first Black graduates, I am a graduate of the University of Alabama. The University of Alabama is one of the last flagship universities to enroll and graduate a Black American student. When I first visited the campus, I went to the site where the governor of Alabama with the state police basically closed down the interest for 2 students to enroll at the school. That's the first place that my mom and I went to visit. If you go to campus today, there is a monument to both of those students, and also another site from the English building where Vivian Malone eventually was a major in. So I really had this one just came from personal experience and wanting to figure out, like, how long did it take for other state universities to enroll and graduate a Black student? So where does the data come from? And this is where dreams and ideas go to die. One of the hardest things about pulling data for like niche things are that, the data sets aren't out there. And the data may be out there, but it's not clean. So you end up spending a lot of time either web scraping, or in my case, copying and pasting to make data sources. And sometimes visits don't get made because I couldn't find enough data to fill out my original idea. So this gathering of the data, cleaning the data, prepping the data takes a lot of time, and it kind of like eliminates some of the other ideas I may have had. Okay, with the banned book viz, I already had the data from last year when I was going to originally make a version of this viz. So I just repurposed something I had already had. All I had to do was add a little bit more data to fill it out, but I already had the bulk of that. The Black rom-com viz, this is where Tableau helped me out. Data plus movies, all of the data was there. All I had to do was to narrow and clean it down to just the movies of interest. So data prep for that and data find for that was really simple. The Black first graduates viz, this is where I had to use Google to kind of hunt down this information. Luckily for me, there was an article in a journal that had this information, and also had lots of information about each one of those graduates. So I just paid for access to the academic journal and did a manual copy paste to get that data. What does my design process look like? AKA the struggle, but what I find to be the most rewarding part. I don't consider myself a creative person, so getting the design, thinking about the colors, typography, all of that, especially for visits that are like not work visits, that can be a little less creative. But when you're making like an infographic type viz, you are like, everything's open. And I find that process a little bit more difficult. And it's another reason why I like doing these visits, because it gives me practice thinking that way. Okay. A lot of seasoned designers, have a very laid out process of how to design a dashboard. I am not there yet. My design process looks more like on the right. I'll either start on paper or in Figma, and I'll have an idea and then change it, go back to search for some data again, change the colors, change the typography, like change the chart types. Anything that my mind comes up with, I'll put it in Figma, or I'll put it on paper, and just go round and round and round until I hit something that, feels right. sometimes inspiration can come from anywhere. The main design inspiration for my banned book viz came from an infographic from Pen America on banned books. I really like this idea of using books as a bar chart. And I took this opportunity to kind of incorporate that design point into my viz. I also like the really strong color contrast between the black and the red. So I tried to do that same color balance in my particular viz. The books that you see here, I made those in Figma. So I learned a lot about Figma and creating things in a different program that you can incorporate into your Tableau viz, building these dashboards. So I ended up learning a lot about Figma and creating images that way too. So I learned a lot with this viz. Sometimes unique chart types, working with those can be difficult. If you, in my day-to-day work, I'm not using network charts. I'm not using chords or Veronis. So in my creative work, it gives me an opportunity to use chart types that I wouldn't normally use. If you were trying to build these chart types before this generator was made, there's a lot of math here. A lot of time like building these data sets the right way and figuring out the right math and the coordinates to make this work. And that can be definitely a stopper. Like if you don't have a lot of time, you might not even want to try building these things, especially if you're not going to use them for work. But thanks to a community member who made this lovely generator of all these different advanced chart types, I was able to try a new chart type. I use the network generator here. All you have to do is upload your data set, and then you can play around with some parameters. And then you can create your network that you can customize in Tableau. And that gave me the opportunity to make this Black rom-com comedy viz that connects the movies with all the actors that are in that movie. So I really loved the process of making this one. The hardest part was trying to figure out the look and getting the right shape for this. And I also gave me a chance to like really think about how the best way I can use a network chart and get the analysis clear to the user. My last viz, the inspiration for this, the original version of this viz looked pretty similar, but it had color. I really wasn't, something about it didn't feel right. And sometimes color is like used in such an important part of dashboarding. You can use color to do so much, but sometimes a lack of color can be just as impactful. So I went back and looked through my favorites on Tableau Public. One of these visits I actually remembered, and then another one I lightly remembered. So I just went through my favorites and found both of these and like love the use of grayscale, that lack of color, and seeing the black kind of pops. I really like that look. I tried that color scale on my viz and it really worked. And I really liked it. So one of the best things about Tableau Public, you get to see so many other people's work that you can incorporate into what you're doing. And whenever you do this, if you look at my viz on Tableau Public, I do have these first one as an inspiration. So if somebody inspired you, Tableau Public also allows you to link to that viz so other people can be just inspired as you are. Some closing thoughts. This series has like meant a lot to me. I love history. I love being able to do research, and I love sharing that work. The last 3 months putting this together has been fun and enjoyable, insightful. Every time I post one of these, people reach out to me. And I end up having really good conversations about either the creation of the viz or a topic or a particular data point that was resonated with people. One of my favorites is that my original viz on Black Congress, a couple of people reached out to me and said they used it in their classrooms. They used it as part of their homeschooling curriculum. So, and they asked me to, when I was going to update it. So to see that something I created is being used means a lot to me. And my last thought, Black history is not just for February, it's all year. I encourage all of you to, take some data and to visualize it. You don't have to come up with your ideas yourself. The Tableau community has done a really good job with highlighting different data sets that you can use. We still have a few days left in February. So if you want to take a crack at visualizing something, Diversity in Data has 2 really good data sets this month. One on sites for the Underground Railroad in a timeline of Black firsts. Black to Viz Basics has some information on HBCUs that they asked that people build a text table from. And the Dubois Challenge is a challenge that asks you to recreate some of the famous visualizations by W.E.B. Du Bois. And one of the co-leads for that is also one of the co-leads for this tug. So there's so many opportunities if you don't want to find their data yourself, but ways that you can engage with Black history data at any point. Those data sets are available and ready for you to use. And finally, thank you for listening.
Virtual clapping emoji. That was so good, Alice. I'm always amazed every time I see you post vids, just to hear you say, "Oh, I'm not creative." I see the work you put out. Absolutely amazing, and across topics they're both fun. Like I love the Black rom-coms vids. I was like, okay, what do I need to go back and watch? Like, what are my favorites? And to see the relationships between all the actors and actresses. So, thank you so much for sharing, and it's so cool to see your process and just seeing how you think about it. And knowing that, sometimes finding the data is a struggle, but it's definitely worth it in the end. And so, yeah, just thank you so much for sharing that. And it was amazing. I'm stunned. Heart eye emoji. That brings us to the end of our meeting. I will share 2 more slides really quickly. And if there are any questions for Alice, you guys please feel free to throw it in the chat. Let me go ahead and share this really briefly. Okay, so if you are hiring or you know of anybody who's hiring, let us know in the chat or post it in our LinkedIn or Slack group, which I'm going to talk about right now. So how to keep in contact with us. I love just meeting all you guys, seeing everyone introduce themselves in the chat. It doesn't have to stop here. Of course, first step is join us on Bevy. You guys already did that. Congratulations. Our next meeting is going to be sometime next quarter. So we aim to have them once a quarter. Hopefully we'll see some of you, all of you at TC24. Sekou talked about, we're kind of, hoping to see some meetups there. And then we also have a LinkedIn group. What's new is our Slack group. That's replacing our WhatsApp chat because there was some spam going on, So we just figured this would be an easier way for us to kind of have that free-flowing conversation. And then we also have a community page you can join. So you can scan any of these QR codes to be added to each of these platforms to stay connected with us. And yeah, as always, like if you guys need anything, you can always reach out to the co-leads. And happy Black History Month. Thank you so much for joining us. I hope you learned something new, made a new friend, or just feel like you had a good time, because then it's a W. And we will share the recording once it's out. And that's all that I have for us. Anyone else want to chime in, add anything else? Thank you for the links in the chat.
Nothing here. Hope to see you guys at future meetups, and feel free to reach out, and happy visiting.
Thank you all.
Good night.
Have a great night.
Thank you too.
Good night, everybody.